Okay, we are live. I believe. You are. Yep, yep, we should be good.
At 8:15, we'll call the April 8th planning board order. We'll do roll call. All members present. Tim, or I'm sorry, Nick has to be excused today, so Nick will not be with us. If everybody had a chance to look at the agenda. Motion for approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Tim, second by Tim, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Everybody had a chance to look at last month's minutes. I'll need an approval, prepare, close, or prepare those minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Tim, second by Kim, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All the same sign, motion carries. Public comment. We don't have anybody from the public here today. Mr. Zeitler is with us from Kewaunee Board. You're welcome to chime in anytime during the meeting if you're at Kewaunee Board, so. So we'll move on to department reports. We'll turn it over to Nina.
So no animal waste storage permits so far for 2025. Farmland preservation, Terry and Travis have been super busy with getting in, so everyone's trying to make sure their taxes are done and getting their farmland preservation number, which is the same every year if you don't buy or sell. But if you buy or sell or change parcels or anything changes, then we have to get all of that to the Department of Revenue. So people are coming in with buying and selling land or they want to get into the program, so we're working with them on getting the nutrient management and things like that. So really busy around tax time. Travis also is setting up his 2025 walkovers. Groundwater protection ordinance goes through April 15th, so April 16th. Spreading can resume on less than 20 feet. Greater than 20 feet, manure can be spread right now. We're getting phone calls. Not a lot of people are spreading right now, but there are a few. So we're getting phone calls. We're like, yes, they can be spreading. It's greater than 20 feet. So we're explaining that to them. A lot of our nutrient management plans are coming in, and I'm working on getting those all updated, cross-referencing them with different farms. A lot of land is changing, and so we have all that with our GIS. And then we're working with some of the TMDL stuff. We'll be starting with Scarborough Creek. It's one of our higher phosphorus levels according to the DNR. So that's going to be coming down the pipeline. I don't know what that's going to involve, and if we even have enough personnel for that, but we'll be working with the DNR on figuring all that out. That's going to be a lot more soft practices that the DNR is going to be allocating some money to. Cover crops, buffers, waterways, that kind of stuff.
Where did Stephen TMDL, the Anarchy River watershed, work over during COVID? Did that ever get done? Weren't they working on a TMDL?
Yeah, so that's part of the northeast lakeshore. So it goes from, it includes Anarchy, so it includes all of Kewaunee County except Red River watershed, because that was a priority watershed in like the 80s. And then it goes like all the way down through Manitowoc, Son of Brown, Calumet, and like south, like down to Racine. So like our whole northeast lakeshore. So yeah, the Anarchy and Kewaunee. So then we have the 9 key element plans for that, so we can bump up and get more funding. So yep, but that is those are both included in the TMDL. So right now, what they did for the TMDL is DNR had a map of all the different watersheds, sub watersheds, and then they calculated from 590 plans phosphorus levels with soil samples. So Scarborough Creek had some of the higher, which was in Kewaunee River watershed, just south of here, I believe. Had some of the higher phosphorus levels, so because funding is so limited, that's where they wanted us to target first. So they kind of help pick those watersheds, so. That's all that we've really talked with that. Paul's been really busy out in the field. Septic systems are starting to get in again, so we had 3 soil inspections. 1 house number, 6 permit applications, we've been working with that too, but. So we're all just been kind of busy, and Sam's been doing a lot of different things with everyone in the office, learning what you can. We're ready for spring to decide she's here and some more field work started. That's all I have.
Tim, do you have anything from Castle and the well testing update? Is there any conversation about this month?
There has not been. There hasn't been a lot of people at the village board meeting asking a lot of questions. You know, we mentioned there will be well testing again this fall. I'm not sure on the.
I'm working with EPA right now, to submit all paperwork in that, and then they will hopefully approve it, but it's not for sure yet. So I have to resubmit all the paperwork, etc. And then hopefully we'll have that.
Houses are still going up. There's another 2 or 3 that are being built as we speak. I saw the loan troopers there yesterday, so we'll see if we get any feedback. I have heard nothing from the daycare. No, I know they test on a regular basis, as does the village kitchen, so I have not heard from either of them that their numbers have spiked.
Okay,
So, okay, keeping the loop as I hear, so.
thank you. Any other questions for me? If seeing none, we'll move on to cooperating agency reports, and it looks like we have Erica here today.
Our spring, winter manure hauler meetings are done. We had 3 sessions here in Kewaunee County, 2 were in Luxembourg, 1 was in Kewaunee. One of those was in Spanish. We had 78 total people attend those sessions compared to 65 last year, so it was increased attendance this year. We usually have around between 70 and 80 attend these sessions here, sometimes a little bit more. So always a good program. This year they changed it up a little bit, so they were doing more hands-on work and less just listening and watching PowerPoints and videos. So that I think was a good way for them to go this year. This is not my program, but I do help with setting up the sessions, and Travis from Landwater Conservation also participated in one of them. So, and then we had Sheriff Josky also participate. So all in all, it was a good session this year for that class. And that's one of our end of the winter programs that we do, that it's nice that as we start getting to those, we know we're getting close to spring. So it's always a good move. I've got a couple of forage projects coming up here for summer. I've got my scissor clips project coming up here in May, of course, I always do. And then I'll also be participating in enrolling a couple more farms in the alfalfa yield persistence project. Actually, both Eric and Aaron that has participated in that in the past. So this year I'm enrolling at least 1 farm in Brown County. I think I'm losing 1 Kewaunee County farm because the field is being retired and they'll be planting something else in there. So I'll be out looking for some additional farms to add to that project. And Chris isn't here. I haven't talked to her for a couple of weeks, but she is doing some summer soil projects as well. So we're staying busy doing research projects, getting data, collecting information, and sharing it with the public is what we do. So, yeah.
Erica, I had you just touch, I know on extension, we talked about it, just touch a little bit on the testing. But he's doing with bird flu, plants.
I don't have a lot of information on that other than I do know that Wisconsin is still negative. There was a large poultry facility in Sheboygan County last week that was had tested positive, and so when that happens, they need to depopulate and care about that through a specific procedure. And there was a quarantine put around that farm for up to, I believe, 10 miles. So when that, we don't have any large scale poultry facilities in this area, which is good. So we're not too concerned about that impacting dairy, but the best line of action is to make sure that people are using PPE. And right now, unfortunately, because we are dealing with bird migration, wild birds are the ones who are typically bringing this in. There's not a lot of ways to reduce that from happening, but farmers really need to take into consideration biosecurity, keeping people from entering their farms that have been to other farms. But again, the wild birds are the ones that are kind of culprits. So just try to keep them away from your cows as much as you can, I guess. I know it's hard to do when they're eating your feed pile, but the testing regarding that, I don't have a lot of details on that, but my understanding is they're testing at the milk plants looking for HPAI, but they haven't found any in Wisconsin yet, so we're in good shape yet. Still, somehow, I'm not sure how we have gotten it here yet, but it is in Minnesota. It's not in Illinois. It's in Michigan. Certainly, it's been for about a year. So this summer, they will continue to do the testing of individual animals going to exhibition. So with that additional testing, it's possible that there'll be more or a case found, but there wasn't any last year, so we'll see what happens. It did really severely impact how many lactating dairy cattle were shown at the fair last year, or any fair, really, any exhibition. This is a situation where it's only being, from what they have determined, at least at this point, only being transferred in lactating dairy cattle. So it's not an issue with beef cattle because we're not coming into contact milk to milk from one cow to the next cow in beef cattle. But with dairy cattle, you put a milking unit on, that comes off, put it on the next cow, that milk is, it's milk to milk contact with cows. So that's what they're seeing. So we're only concerned at this point about lactating dairy cattle, but you can test with a nasal swab of non-lactating cattle. So there's a lot of testing out there, but fortunately we haven't found, or no one has found it, not yet anyway.
Any other questions, Eric? Other agencies, organization reports there. Do you have anything to report? Let's see.
No, I know there's a new program out, but we meet tomorrow, so I'm not sure. I know I signed something that wanted me to sign before I left for vacation, but I'll know more tomorrow on that. Yeah, nothing to do with that.
And can something I forgot to land and water, in the water well, take stuff. I saw, and maybe everybody else gets it too. I got the Kennard Farms flyer, their newsletter that they send out. I don't know if anybody else gets that, but the front page was about the Cedron thing that's going on there now. They sort of put it public out to all the people around wherever they rent land from, or is on their mailing list, talking about the Cedron thing, how it's going to work, what it's going to do. Talked about how many loads of manure per 100 are actually manure and how much is actually water. You know, three is actually manure, the rest 97 is actually water that's going on the fields. So they talked about how they wouldn't be on the roads as much, how it would cut back on field traffic, getting crops in quicker, not having to wait for the weather type of stuff. I thought, you know, it's out there now, it's public for everyone to start talking about. I know we saw the facility through UW Extension, right? That's how we got the tour. Is there any chance that Land and Water, I mean, it must have taken the next step already, that we somehow could get there as a group, maybe to see it? So when people ask us questions about it, I mean, is that something Land and Water should do, or is that more of a UW Extension? Do it again, and we go and see the finished product before it's running or when it's running? Just putting it out there to talk to Lee and maybe say, hey, we saw a big empty building and you explained to us what's going to happen, but now it sounds like by this fall, things are going to be up and running. So it'd be really neat to see how everything's going to work. Obviously, it affects the water discharge coming through all the creeks in the village of Casco and everything like that. So,
Yeah, I think, I mean, something we can definitely talk about if somebody wants to ask Lee when they would feel comfortable.
Yeah.
We just have to meet all open meeting.
Yeah.
laws.
Yeah, it'd be open to the public, but
To the
I think
public.
that'd be a good idea.
Good idea.
It's new technology. It's something pretty huge in our county, I think. I mean, minority spreading is what we talk
Yeah.
about. 75%.
I have the newsletter, I just haven't
I
taken
can
it out
mark
of
my
my.
copy of it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I could have brought it along. I mean, it doesn't go into great detail,
Right.
but it just talks about.
No, I have it in my pile of paper, so.
It's nice.
As do I.
Oh, we're definitely looking forward to that technology coming out.
Yeah, and I hope it works and I hope it's as good as they make it sound and I mean, it'll be huge.
Anytime you can get manure on the actual growing crop,
Correct. And there's
especially with our
stuff out there, yeah.
summers and fluctuating weather.
Oh, that's great that they're sending updates of the community, this, so what's going on, so I'm glad you brought that up, so. Anybody listening can hear that update also, so.
And our county, Kewaunee, we're up for the Great Lakes, so we're part of the Great Lakes Committee, and I believe we have the summer tour. So our office has to do the summer or fall tour, so maybe I can incorporate it into that. And showing other surrounding counties too, because LCCs are welcome to attend that, they want that, but them to attend and so is the public, so. Maybe we can move that into our tour, and then maybe they would have the rain 360 already too, so that might be two things that we can incorporate it. I can talk to Lee. And maybe I'll just do that, if we can move it to a summer tour. While she's getting that, shoreline ordinance will go to county board actually next month. We thought it was gonna go this month, but we didn't get everything crossed and dotted and everything, so. We got full DNR approval, so once we get it final markup, it'll go to county board for the first reading, and we'll have, so May, June will be the public hearing, second reading, and then it'll be incorporated into the ordinance.
Moving on to other matters to discuss, conservation updates, I think Tim kind of touched on that, but what's going on with Cedron. 360, other than that, I don't think there's a whole lot, not a lot going on in winter. Conservation other than the cover crops growing, so unless anybody has anything to add to that, I don't have a whole lot. For that topic at this time.
Andre Shaw. Andre, I don't know what time it is, but Andre Shaw has listening sessions, and they are going to be April 14th. If you look up, I think there's one in Kewaunee, and I want to say it's 4 to 5:30, but don't quote me on that. But if you look up Andre Jacques listening session, I'm gonna go for sure. One of our big pushes is continuing to support staffing grants for the water conservation committees, but he's got other, it's just a full listening session. So that's definitely something that's, because he's coming to Q1, that's important.
Do you know where it is offhand or?
I don't, but if you Google, or I can try to see if I can send it, but if you just listen, or if you just look at his listening sessions, I think it's in the city of Kewaunee, I don't know exactly where.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we can move on to scheduling future meetings.
So we have May 13th right now. I don't care. But I'm going to get my daughter. Oh, I'm picking her up there. We can do the 6th, we can do, I'm wide open, so it's dependent on the LTC.
I know. If it's all right, if it works for Tim and Jared, we can move to the 6th, I know Nick. Called me yesterday and second Tuesdays of the month, he started to have some conflicts. So. He asked if we could possibly change meeting dates, I'll check with the board, but. Maybe if we move this one to the 6th, if Nick is here, then we can have that conversation at that point. He was gonna find out more today after his ordeal too, so.
There is a nuclear drill here that day.
Oh, on the 6th, okay, so that won't work.
You never know when they're gonna start, so usually I'm like, this would be over by the time that starts, but I'm just letting you know.
We want a chance, or do we want to try a different day? I mean-
Like they start after the meeting?
They start it just whenever they start. It.
There's no start date, so the FEMA guy will come here. And then we'll get a phone call randomly in the morning saying, there's a nuclear drill, blah, 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 this is the scenario, you need to report there. So it tries to make it as live as possible, not saying, okay, we're gonna start this at 8 o'clock, and so they try to make it.
I think we should probably avoid that then, just in case.
Do they use this room?
No,
Go over and,
I mean, if anything, if you're here, you can cover me until I get there, so I think it'll be fine.
Okay,
I'm assuming this will be over by the time that starts,
Sure.
because this is just the drill, it's not the actual exercise.
Yeah.
okay.
So we'll just stay with May
Yeah.
sixth, so then it would be either June 3rd or June 10th, unless you wanna wait till May 6th to talk to.
Yeah, if that's all right with the committee, we'll wait till May 6th to schedule a June meeting then.
That's fine.
June 10th is the FEMA evaluated exercise, just let you know. That one, there's gonna be a lot more people around.
As chairman's wrap up, I do not have anything to add to it, so with that, we'll look for a motion and public hearing.
I'll second.
By Kim, second by Kim, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Hold the same sign, motion carried, adjourned at 8:35.